Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're getting straight into it, building a strong marriage.
Yeah, and we're definitely moving past the Instagram version.
Exactly. Forget the filters, the perfect endings. We're tackling the real, everyday stuff, the things that actually make a partnership last.
We've got some interesting material here, and we're aiming to pull out the really useful insights.
Actionable stuff. And look, if you're listening and feeling maybe a bit skeptical about more relationship advice.
Which is understandable, especially with all the perfect couples you see online.
Right. It's easy to feel like you're the only one dealing with the messy bits, that gap between the highlight reel and, who's actually unloading the dishwasher.
Totally. So if you're thinking, not another one, maybe stick around. This isn't the fantasy.
No, it's about the fundamental things, sometimes surprising things, actually, actionable things. We're going beyond the love and champagne toasts.
To the real nitty-gritty. And we'll cover quite a bit, like why happily ever after can be tricky, what real communication looks like. Hint, it's not just talking.
Okay.
Why your values matter maybe more than those initial vibes. Finances, the scary topic.
Oh, yeah.
How to fight fair, what intimacy really means long-term, keeping your own identity.
That's a big one.
Getting outside, help smartly, understanding love languages properly, and having that shared direction. So let's jump in.
Okay, first up, this whole happily ever after a myth. The sources, they really call out what they term the romance industrial complex.
That they do. It's this idea that we're sold an illusion, right? Like those movies that conveniently end when the couple just gets together.
Yeah, fades to black.
And the analogy used is pretty good. Love is like the frosting. It's lovely. It's sweet.
And it's not the cake.
Exactly. You need the actual foundation, the sometimes boring everyday work. We get hit with messages about the spark, the grand gestures.
All the time.
But real life, it's navigating disagreements, budgets, just the routine stuff.
And those images, they set up some, frankly, unrealistic expectations. Like your soulmate just completes you, no effort needed.
Right. Or passion stays fiery forever without work. Or one big apology fixes deep problems.
And there's actual research on this, isn't there? Something from a psychology journal.
Yes, the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. Really interesting findings. They found people who really bought into that soulmate idea. Perfect fit, instant connection. They actually reported being less satisfied in their relationships. And crucially, they were quicker to bail when problems showed up.
Because if it's meant to be easy, then any difficulty feels like proof it's wrong.
Precisely. Which is, well, the opposite of reality. The sources stress that strong relationships aren't found, they're built through experiences, challenges, effort, over time.
And that initial passionate feeling, great, but it changes. It has to.
It evolves, hopefully into something deeper. Respect, curiosity about each other, a shared vision you're both working on.
And consistency beats grand gestures.
Absolutely. The daily kindness, being reliable, just showing up. That's the real foundation builder, much more than, a dozen roses once a year.
Okay, let's shift to communication. Sounds basic, but the point made is crucial. It's not just talking, it's being understood.
This is such a common sticking point. We think saying the words means we've communicated, but that example in the material is perfect.
The I wish we spent more time together one.
Yeah. The partner hears, you're failing me, or you don't prioritize us. Depends on their own stuff, their history.
And boom, defenses go up, connection gone.
Instantly. So the practical tool mentioned is reflective listening.
Right. How does that work again exactly?
It's pretty straightforward but powerful. You say something, and your partner tries to paraphrase it back. Not just the words, but the feeling behind them.
So if I say, I'm feeling swamped, they might say.
Something like, okay, so it sounds like you're feeling really pressured right now, a lot on your plate. And then you confirm, yeah, that's it. Or you clarify, well, mostly pressured by X.
Ah, I see. It forces actual listening, not just waiting to talk.
Exactly. And it slows the conversation down, which is key, especially when things are tense. Fewer assumptions, less misunderstanding.
Which builds emotional safety, because you actually feel heard.
Right. Think about it. When have you felt that made a difference? Just being truly heard.
Oh, definitely. Huge difference. And speaking of disagreements, that Gottman fun fact about repair attempts. What was that again?
Gottman's big insight is that successful couples aren't conflict-free. They're just better at repairing during or after conflict.
Repairing, like saying sorry.
It can be,
Yeah.
but also simpler things.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, I didn't mean that the way it sounded, or can we start that bit over?
Yeah.
Little things that stop the downward spiral.
Like hitting pause, acknowledging things went off track.
Exactly. It shows you still care about the connection, even when you're disagreeing.
That's a really useful takeaway. Okay, so Past the fairy tale, listening better. Next up, values over vibes. The underrated compatibility test.
Yeah, this is crucial for the long haul. That initial chemistry, the vibes, the fun connection, absolutely important for getting things started.
Of course.
But for building a life, it's the deeper stuff. Shared core values, life goals, how you basically see the world, that's where the real alignment needs to be.
Makes total sense. You could have amazing chemistry, but if one person desperately wants kids and the other definitely doesn't.
Or you have totally different ideas about money, success, religion, lifestyle, that's going to cause friction, constant friction.
So the sources push us to ask those bigger questions early on.
Yeah. What about kids? What does success look like to you? How do you feel about money? Religion? Are you both generally wanting to grow and learn? Stuff like that.
Because marriage is meant to be a team, right? Not a tug of war over fundamental beliefs.
Exactly. Vibes draw you in, values keep you anchored together.
Okay, now for the topic that makes people squirm. Money. The sources call financial transparency the unsexy marriage saver.
Huh. It's true, though. Money issues are a huge source of stress, and it's rarely just about the money itself.
What do you mean?
Well, as the material points out, money often stands for other things. Security, power, dreams, control, sometimes guilt, even like generational baggage around finances.
Right, so arguing about spending might really be about feeling insecure or controlled?
Precisely. Ignoring those underlying meanings. That's asking for trouble.
And the sources say, pretty bluntly, if you can't talk openly about money, maybe hold off on marriage.
It sounds harsh? Maybe. But there's logic there. Your financial lives become so intertwined, you have to be able to talk about income, debt, spending habits, savings goals, risk tolerance.
Who handles what? What are you saving for together?
All of it. You need a shared understanding.
A plan.
And then the really controversial bit, the prenup, often seen so negatively.
Yeah, like you're planning to fail. But the reframe in the material is helpful, thinking of it as an emotional seatbelt.
An emotional seatbelt. Explain that. It's not about mistrust. It's about clarity. Agreeing up front how things would be handled if the unexpected happens. It can actually prevent huge fights and bitterness later by setting clear boundaries and expectations. Protects both people.
Okay, that's a different way to look at it. So accepting disagreements happen. The next skill is fighting fair, productive conflict.
Right. The goal isn't no conflict, because that's often unrealistic or means things are being avoided. The goal is conflict that doesn't destroy the connection, maybe even clarifies things.
And there are rules of engagement suggested. What are the key ones?
Okay, first big one. No name calling, no personal attacks. Stick to the issue, not attacking the person. You're on the same team, remember?
Right. Avoid the you always and you never traps, too.
Definitely. They're rarely true, and just make the other person defensive. And try to stick to one issue at a time. Don't pick up everything from the last 6 months.
Keep it focused and use I feel statements.
Crucial. Instead of you're ignoring me, try I feel ignored when. It owns your feeling, doesn't just accuse, less blame, more likely to be heard.
Those sound like good ground rules. And what was that about humor during conflict? The research gem.
Yeah, research suggests that using humor appropriately, and that's key, appropriately, no sarcasm or mocking.
Right, not mean humor.
No. But gentle humor can actually defuse tension, help you both step back, lighten the mood, remember you're a team.
Good reminder not to take it all so deadly seriously all the time. Okay, let's talk intimacy. Sexual intimacy, described as a mirror, not a metric. What's that about?
It means your sex life often reflects the overall health of the relationship's emotional connection. It's not just a scorecard of frequency.
So good sex starts outside the bedroom.
Often, yes. It starts with how you talk to each other, feeling safe, feeling connected emotionally. If there's resentment simmering, or you don't feel safe expressing desires, or even saying no, that impacts intimacy.
Makes sense. And the challenge of mismatched libidos comes up too. That's common, right?
Very common in long-term relationships. And the key is how you handle it. Blame, pressure, withdrawal. Those are damaging. It needs open conversation, empathy, trying to find solutions together.
And the controversial truth about scheduling sex. People react strongly to that sometimes.
They do. It can sound unromantic, clinical. But the argument is, in busy lives, being intentional about intimacy can be a way of prioritizing it.
Like scheduling a date night.
Exactly. It says, this connection is important. I'm making time for it. It's not about obligation. It's about consciously choosing to connect.
Okay, I get the logic. Now, another potential pitfall, losing yourself in the relationship. becoming a we and forgetting the me.
Such an important point. You build a we, yes, but that shouldn't erase the individual me. Losing your hobbies, friends, personal goals, that can actually starve the relationship.
Oh, so.
Well, if you stop growing individually, what new energy or perspective do you bring to the relationship? It can lead to resentment or just dullness.
I liked how the sources tweaked that saying, not just grow together or grow apart, but
If you're not growing individually, there's nothing new to bring to the togetherness. It emphasizes that individual vitality fuels the partnership. Having separate interests keeps things fresh, gives you things to share.
maintaining some independence actually strengthens the bond.
Yeah.
Okay, what about getting help? Therapy is often seen as just for crises.
Yeah, the sources challenge that. They frame it more like a regular tune-up, preventative maintenance for your relationship.
So not waiting until the engine blows up.
Exactly. A therapist offers a neutral space, can spot unhealthy patterns you're blind to, teach you better communication tools. It's an investment, not a sign of failure.
Making it normal, not shameful. And if therapy isn't an option.
There are alternatives. Good relationship books. Gottman's 7 Principles gets a mention. Retreats, podcasts like this one, courses. The key is being proactive about learning and improving together.
Good point. Okay, love languages, popular concept, but potentially misunderstood.
Very popular.
Yeah.
And helpful if used correctly. The 5 languages: words, service, touch, time, gifts. They're guides to help your partner feel seen and loved.
But not demand lists.
Exactly. The source warns against using it like emotional extortion. Like, my love language is gifts, so if you don't buy me expensive things, you don't love me. That misses the point entirely.
So it's about learning their language and trying to speak it.
Yes. Making an effort to show love in the way they best receive it. Even if it's not your natural default, it's about thoughtful expression.
And that simple tip, just ask, what made you feel loved this week?
Brilliant. Keeps it real, keeps it current. Much better than relying on assumptions.
Okay, last big piece. The power of a shared vision, building something together.
Yeah, this moves beyond just coexisting. A strong marriage often involves actively creating something together. It gives the relationship a purpose beyond just itself.
Like what kind of things?
Could be anything, really. Raising a family, building a specific lifestyle, starting a business, a creative project, working towards a shared mission or travel goal.
The goal itself isn't the main point.
Not necessarily. It's the alignment, the shared effort, the teamwork towards that common dream. That's what builds connection and satisfaction.
And couples with that shared purpose report being happier.
That's what the research suggests. It gives you a why for the partnership, a direction. You're not just roommates. You're partners on a mission.
Okay, so wrapping this all up.
Yeah.
It's clear marriage is way more than just being in love.
Oh, absolutely. It's actively working at love. It requires effort, communication, aligned values, financial teamwork, fighting fair.
Intimacy in the broad sense, keeping your individuality, getting support, understanding how to show love effectively.
And having that shared vision. It's building a foundation.
A foundation of respect, effort, laughter, being open, having boundaries.
Exactly. And it's not always perfect or glamorous. Let's be real.
No. But the sources suggest that when you nurture these things, it can be incredibly rewarding.
Profoundly rewarding.
So a final thought for everyone listening. Reflecting on all this, what resonates most with you? Which of these building blocks feels most important or maybe most challenging in your own experience or what you hope for?
Yeah, what stands out? Is it the communication piece, the shared values, the need for independence?
And maybe remember, as the sources hinted, even those silly arguments about how to load the dishwasher.
Yes.
They're part of the reality, too. It's all part of the ongoing everyday effort that really matters long after the wedding day. Thanks for diving deep with us today.